Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. It's the time of year that gardeners are preparing for the upcoming growing season. While you might be thinking ahead to what you need to do or what you want to plant, one of the first things to consider is soil test. That's where UVM Extension's Agricultural and Environmental Testing Lab comes in. To find out what we can learn from testing our soil, our own Ben Willis took a tour of the lab with Assistant Professor Joshua Faulkner, who heads the Center for Sustainable Agriculture.
We are in the University of Vermont's Agricultural and Environmental Testing Laboratory, otherwise known as the Soils Lab at UVM. That's in Jeffords Hall, which is on UVM's main campus in Burlington. So we're in the instrument room right now. This is where we have a lot of our high-tech instruments that we use for soil and water analyses. This is our new pride and joy. This is our total carbon and nitrogen analyzer for soils. We just got this a couple months ago, and this allows us to measure how much total carbon is within a soil sample. And that is a really hot question right now because of people trying to understand carbon sequestration in soils related to climate change. And this is kind of a top of the line instrument, and it allows UVM, I say, like kind of to move into the big leagues when it comes to soil testing and analytical services around soil carbon. This is a lab that does a couple things. One is we process and provide recommendations on over 6,000 soil samples every year for Vermont farmers and gardeners and other landowners. The other piece of what happens here is a lot of soil and water laboratory analyses.
What are some of the things you can learn about soil by testing it here?
Most of our soil samples are what we call a routine soil sample, and those primarily provide what the nutrient status is within your soil. So macronutrients, as well as some of your phosphorus and potassium, and then some of your micronutrients as well. A routine soil sample will also provide pH of the soil. Whether you need to adjust that with liming or not, that would be a recommendation that would come out of that. Also provide the organic matter content of your soil, and a lot of folks are very interested in that, kind of a really kind of broad measure for how healthy your soil is.
I can see how this would be really helpful for farmers, but what about home gardeners? Should they be getting their soil tested?
Absolutely. Anyone who is managing, fruits or vegetables or other crops, if you don't measure it, you can't manage it. So, we recommend that, for farmers, of course, because it's really critical for their productivity and profitability. But, for gardeners, it's important. I think of it as, I love to garden. I know a lot of people who love to garden. They put a lot of time into their garden. And why not try to maximize that time investment with a simple soil sample to understand what nutrients your soils need to help your vegetable crops or your other plants maximize their production and get the best return on your time spent gardening.
With all the data that you're collecting, all the soil that you're bringing in, do you do anything more with that data? Does it help with research?
Yeah, great question, because you can imagine Soil Testing Lab has been here for decades, right? So we've collected quite a database of Vermont soils. And so we do on occasion, especially working with other researchers at Vermont, within Extension or within Plant and Soil Sciences, are interested around state patterns of nutrient concentrations. And so we have that database. It's all anonymous. We don't have any names associated with it, but we can look at some of those big patterns of, have soil nutrient concentrations changed through time? Are soil concentrations higher in one part of the state than the other? We've had some folks recently interested in, how much carbon is in our soils in Vermont. So we have organic matter concentrations, and we can help provide some information to those folks who are interested in trying to understand climate change mitigation research questions as well.
How does it work? If I wanted to bring my soil in, what do I do?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep, so pretty simple. First thing I would say, I'd recommend going to our website, which is probably easiest way to get there is to just Google UVM Ag and Environmental Testing Lab. That should get you to us. There's a handy guide on there for how to take a soil sample. pretty simple. You know, if you have a typical size vegetable garden, take 10 subsamples, mix them up really well. Take anywhere from a half a cup to a cup of that sample, put it in any plastic bag that seals up really well, print off a submission form, put a check with it, and just mail that to us. If you're in the Burlington area, you can also drop it off right here in Jeffords. We have a drop box in the main entryway of Jeffords downstairs, and we also have bins where you can drop them up here at around 262 on the second floor of Jeffords.
As Joshua mentioned, you can get soil testing information by visiting the UVM Extension website for the Ag and Environmental Testing Lab. When it comes to growing things indoors, a little bit of knowledge can go a long way towards raising healthier and longer-lasting plants. In partnership with UVM Master Gardener Program, today's Houseplant Hero segment looks at a plant that's easy to grow and has very few problems.
Hi, I'm Judy Miro, a UVM Master Gardener coming to you from the University of Vermont Greenhouses, and I'm here to help you become a houseplant hero by providing some guidance on caring for your houseplants. Today, our focus is on the Euphorbia lactei, or false cactus, or the candelabra cactus. The cactus and Euphorbia may look similar, but they're very different plants. They initially grew oceans apart. Euphorbia originates from South Africa, while the cactus are native to the Americas. So while we see them sold under the name cactus most everywhere we go, it's because they thrive in very similar or same conditions: hot, sunny, and dry. The reason I adore the Euphorbia is because they grow faster and many varieties are easily propagated, like the candelabra. More on that in a moment. So then how do you tell a Euphorbia from a cactus? All cactus have spines, while the Euphorbias have thorns. Only cactus have what's called areolas, which are the fuzzy spots where the spines, flowers, and stems of the cacti plants grow from. The areolas found on all cactus species, and they're either fuzzy white or fuzzy yellow. You'll never find this on any of these Euphorbias. Many people will tell you that it's the flowers that give them away. Cactus flowers are usually large, soft-petaled, and come in lively colors. Euphorbia flowers are not much to look at, and they're usually quite small. But that's not why you buy a Euphorbia. You buy them for their texture, structure, and bold statement. If you should remove any of the thorns from a Euphorbia, you'll actually injure the plant. There are other differences, and of course, there will be those varieties that are thorn-free, and you'll have to look closer at leaves and the flowers to tell the differences. Just know that the Euphorbia will never ever have one or two thorns together. If you cut your candelabra, you'll notice a milky white sap oozing out. This sap is sticky and toxic to us and our pets. It can cause skin and eye irritation if you allow it to come in contact. This is just another trait of the Euphorbia species. Always best to wear gloves and safety glasses if you should accidentally injure your plant. The candelabra is a good self-healer, so hopefully any damage you might do won't be fatal. Wipe off any sap with a cloth or paper towel and allow the plant to heal itself. Branches that you do break off should be set aside for a week or two to harden off before you place them in soil to regrow. The candelabra makes a great houseplant for novice gardeners because it doesn't require a lot of special care. It grows well in indirect light. The brighter the light, the faster it grows. Full south exposure or a west exposure works wonders for this plant. Be sure not to place them against a window in the winter. You wouldn't want this plant to catch a chill. The plants will like to keep warm year-round. These plants prefer a fast-draining cactus soil mix to ensure the soil dries out between waterings. Remembering that the Euphorbia's origins are from Africa, where the conditions are dry, hot, and warm. Overwatering, or as I like to say, overloving your plant will be the death of it. So best to use a moisture meter to be sure this plant is dried out before you water again. Like most plants, pests don't show up unless the plant is stressed out. Euphorbia has few pests other than aphids and mealybugs. Remember to check for pests every time you water. You wouldn't want to invite critters taking up residency elsewhere. One last thing, as these candelabra or other types of columnar euphorbias age, you'll likely find brown spots appearing. If they are light brown and hard, this is referred to as corking. And it's what happens when your plant gets old. I like to think of it as your plant's well-earned age spots. It's totally normal and you don't have to worry about it. Remember that by providing your plants with the conditions and care they need, you too can be a houseplant hero. For more information on houseplants and home gardens, visit the UVM Extension Master Gardener website and see our Garden Resources page. Or contact an Extension Master Gardener volunteer at the helpline. The phone number is on your screen. This is Extension Master Gardener Judy Miro wishing you happy growing.
Our thanks to Judy and the Extension Master Gardener program. You can find other Houseplant Hero segments by searching the Across the Fence website. That's our program for today. Once again, thank you for joining us Across the Fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Stay well.